Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I am back after I had a weekend of travel baseball. And for those of you that have never been involved in travel baseball, there are weekends, if you have a tournament, where these kids could play anywhere from 2 to 4 games per day. And yesterday we had one of those days where we had a potential of 4 games, and it got by the time those kids were done, they were about to fall asleep out on that baseball field. It's really too much. I wish they would keep it to like 2 games. But I was out of town. I had my computer and my gear with me, but I've never recorded a video from a hotel room, and maybe I need to start doing it. We're about to go into, for the next 3 or 4 years, we'll be doing travel ball a lot, and so I'm probably going to figure out an easy way to do a setup when I'm on the road, or maybe I should just start doing some type of a live stream from my phone when I'm on the road like that, because the kids are getting older, and my oldest kid, travel ball, is going to get pretty serious pretty quick coming up here. Now, one of the most important pieces of news that I have ever seen in the digital asset space since I got into this came out on, I believe this was Friday. This one is from XRP Big Time. So yesterday was 28th, day before was, okay, yeah. So XRP Big Time sent me this, okay. Now this is Etrade is close to launching cryptocurrency trading. All right. Now I want to give you some history on this, and I tweeted about this, I believe Friday I tweeted about this, because this is such a big deal. And let me tell you why. Everybody that listens to me for any period of time knows that I used to be a financial advisor at Morgan Stanley. Well, one of the things that drew me to digital assets is that I recognized this very early as what I thought would be a new asset class, and I thought that there would be so much money involved in this that it would draw Wall Street in eventually. In 2013, when I got into this and I first started telling my wife about this, we went through a crazy bull run. As I recall, it was around Thanksgiving of 2013. I remember that. You'll find this interesting. I remember that because I remember being in my backyard smoking a piece of meat around Thanksgiving and being on the phone with one of my few friends who had actually gotten invested in digital assets with me. And we could not believe what was going on, and it was around Thanksgiving. We couldn't believe what was going on in the crazy bull run that was going on at the time. That bull run later on collapsed around December, as I recall. Don't quote me. But anyway, during that period of time, I think after the bull run, I told my wife that with my financial advisor background, my thought pattern was this, that one day digital assets would get to a place where you would literally be able to transfer your Bitcoin or your XRP or whatever into an E-Trade account and to sell it. And I told my wife at that time that if it ever got to that point, we would accomplish with this investment everything, the most pie in the sky, moonshot dream that I ever had with regard to digital assets would be accomplished, because I knew that if it ever got to the adoption point where companies like E-Trade and Charles Schwab and TD Ameritrade, if it ever got to that point, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of how long it takes for the money to flow in. And so when I saw this, it was a really defining moment for me. I finally realized. Now I've known all along that I was right. Not all along, but from about 2016 till now, I've known, yes, I was right. Because when we first started this, we didn't know if tomorrow digital assets would be declared illegal in the United States. We're way past that now. But this piece of news, this one piece of news is from Friday, is the one thing where I was like, golly, I I wasn't just right. I was 1,000% right. And so I feel better. I feel more excited about my digital asset investment today than I have in all of the past since this started. In fact, I bought more this morning. And so, yeah, and I continue to buy. As long as these prices are at what I consider to be ridiculous levels, I will continue to buy. And ridiculous levels to me is anything where this market is under, say, really $200 to $500 billion. To me, anything under that is ridiculous. It's a joke. This market should be way over $1 trillion already, but it'll get there. No worries. Okay, but this is that E-Trade tweet, and it's about E-Trade launching this cryptocurrency trading. Next, well, let's see. Sean Michaels sent me this at Michaels_Mr. He sent me this. If I get the computer, I think is pretty fast today. You're gonna love it. This is XRP Crypto Wolf's summary of the E-Trade thing, which he often summarizes things really well, and I like to show this because that way I don't have to delve too deep into the articles. I know he does a good job pulling out the important points. E-Trade, the massive retail brokerage firm, is looking to unleash crypto trading onto its 5 million person retail base. E-Trade will be offering BTC and ETH trading to its 5 million customers and is just finalizing a third party to hold custody of the coins. Well, the important thing here, the most important thing, this is 5 million. Now, remember, folks, all we've been talking about with all these firms like Bakkt and Fidelity and all these firms coming in to this point, all they've been talking about is institutional people, bringing their institutional people in. Well, I've said all along, that is just to do that's like a, in basketball, I think they call it an alley-oop when someone throws up the ball and sets up the other guy to come in and dunk it. Well, that's what this is. It's the setup. The institutional talk, that's just the setup to bring in the retail people. And E-Trade's we're going to bring 5 million. TD Ameritrade has 11 million. They've already said they're going to bring their retail also. So you know Schwab and all the rest are going to come. And like I've said from day one of my channel, not some, all of them are coming. I don't care if it's Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, Merrill Lynch, you name it, they're coming. And they're not just coming institutionally, they're coming with their retail. The retail, that's the whole design of this game, folks. It's the money people, the over-the-counter. They get in there, they park their money. That's how these people have been making money for years, for decades and centuries. Is you get your big rich friends in, and then the retail people come in. That's how the games work. And the most interesting thing, and the thing that has excited me from the beginning of the digital assets, the thing that has excited me so much from the very beginning is that it's the first time in history where we were able to game the wealthy. And what I mean by that is this is the first time that people who are smart and saw what was coming could go and park their investment before even the rich and the institutions got involved. That's you and me. That's you and me. That's you and I that were here. Really, anybody that got in 2017 or so, before you got here, before the institutions. Even if you got in and rode this thing down after the 2017 run up, you still have gotten in ahead of a lot of the institutions and you've gotten in ahead of these 5 million customers right here. Because remember, as these institutions have been investing over the counter this year and last year, as they've been doing that, all of the powers that be have been floating all of these anti-crypto ads. Remember, Forbes, they've been all these negative. They've been pounding, oh, crypto bubble. The boom is bust. They've been pounding that drum while they've all been buying over the counter. And it's not a coincidence that all of a sudden you're beginning to see retail brokers like this. Oh, now they're going to open a crypto exchange, 5 million retail customers. Do you think, and I've been saying it from day one, The next thing you're going to see happen is the traditional financial media that has been bashing crypto. The next thing you're going to see happen, right about the time when they're ready for all these retail people to come in, they're going to be the biggest they will be bigger cheerleaders for digital assets than the digital asset investor. Period. Okay, done talking about that except for one little thing. I tweeted this out this morning and I wanted to show it to you because watch. You're about to see what's going to happen. I wanted to ask Charles Schwab because I know, let me refresh this and see if we can see how many, okay, yeah. We got 32 retweets, 118 likes. Hi, Charles Schwab. I just read that Etrade is going to offer digital asset trading to their 5 million customers, and I previously read that TD Ameritrade was going to do the same with their 11 million customers. Will you be offering digital asset trading to your customers? Boom. And you're darn right they will. Just watch. And there's one that, hey, there's one, I want to go ahead and make a bold prediction, folks. One of the oldest, most traditional financial companies, I guess it would be a mutual fund company more than anything, is Vanguard. Vanguard said a year ago they will never come into crypto. Write it down, folks. When I say all of them are coming, I mean all of them, including Vanguard. I don't care how old school it is. They're all coming. Vanguard will be in this before it's over. And when they do, that will be talked about on my channel because they're all coming. There's a little thing called competition. And once that competition snowball begins rolling downhill, Vanguard will be right in there with all the rest of them. All right, and Charles Schwab too. So I thought it'd be funny to ask them a rhetorical question, which I already know the answer to. XRP James T at XRP James sent me this, and I've got a lot of windows up here, folks. My favorite Twitter feed in the world, John McAfee, who I'm not going to let forget that he said he's going to unveil Satoshi, even though I think he's tweaking us all. I'm still going to stay hold of that. I love covering John McAfee. He's so fun. He's a genius, but I think he's too smart for his own good. But I love watching him and watching what's going on with him. He says a teaser for it's always a teaser for what's coming soon. The first crypto credit card accepted everywhere. Now, these crypto credit cards this is going to begin to snowball too. You're going to see more and more of this. I have no idea what he's referring to, but at some point, you're going to see Visa and MasterCard put out their own crypto card of some sort. That's what I'm really waiting on. I can't wait. But it's all coming, folks. All right. Next, from XRP Crypto Wolf, look at this, more adoption. Every week now, it seems like I'm getting different news of another country that is getting that is getting further and further along with their crypto regulations. And this time it's Finland. Finland's president approved a law to regulate crypto service providers like exchanges, custodian providers, and issuers of cryptocurrency, which will enter into force May 1st. Finn FSA will hold a briefing May 15th at the Bank of England to explain new rules. Folks, it's coming. It is coming. And then from Crypto Utility Guy. Now, I want to tell you up front, I am not covering this to in any way say anything bad about BitTrue. I think BitTrue has been a great company for the space and a great company for XRP, and I like them. But this is something that I just feel like is important to cover with any of you. I do not, first let me read what he says here and then I'll tell you my take on it. Crypto Utility Guy at Utility Guy 7. A client funds guarantee that relies on BitTrue remaining liquid after offering 7.3% interest on something that may drop in value. I guess I'll pass. Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm passing too. I do not pledge my digital assets so that someone will pay me interest in them. I'm not comfortable with this yet. Now, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with this, but what he's saying here is something that would make me nervous. And that is, when you're giving these digital asset exchanges your digital asset, you're storing your digital assets with these exchanges, even if they say they're putting them in cold storage. Your funds are there with a lot of people's funds. And so if any of these firms start having financial trouble, and again, I'm not saying anything bad about BitoPro, I'm just talking in general. Any of these companies have financial problems, your funds are there, and I'm telling you, I've seen multiple exchanges where things happen, all kinds of things can happen, and next thing people know, their money is locked, and then the next thing they know, there's a Chapter 11 or a Chapter whatever bankruptcy going on, and then you're in a situation where you're waiting on a court to disperse your funds, and you got lawyers involved, and then the next thing you know, the lawyers are going to get all the money, and you're not going to see anything. So that's how I feel about this kind of stuff. You will not see me leave digital assets on an exchange, and you won't see me leave digital. I don't care what the wallet is that's on a computer or a phone. Not going to happen here. Okay, next. XRP big time, and here's another example of what happens when you get behind on regulation and you're dragging your feet like the United States is. UAE token sales make it a global crypto capital, passing the United States. This is at X big time, and here's the article that he sent, and it's about, okay, it says, coming from way behind, the United Arab Emirates has just emerged as the world's capital for sales of digital tokens, accounting for more than a fourth of all funds raised in offerings this year through early April, according to CoinSchedule. Now, this part down here is what I wanted to read to you. We are seeing the continuation of the move away from the United States due to regulatory concerns. Alex Ballou, Chief Executive Officer of CoinSchedule, said in an email, U.S. regulators have been cracking down on initial coin offerings known as ICOs that they say should have been registered as securities. Well, the proof's in the pudding here, folks. You see what's going on? Top countries by amount raised in token sales in U.S. dollars. This is what happens when you over-regulate. And I don't care, all these countries that are over-regulating, they're doing it out of a fear of not being able to control their own the money, and they wouldn't be so paranoid about it if they were not in the debts that they're in, and they had not been irresponsible with their currencies in the first place. They wouldn't have to be so scared about it then. But that's what it's really all about. Okay, moving along. All right, from at Bob N Deep XRP, he sent me this. Now, this is something I mentioned. I wanted to show you this just to reiterate a point I just said a minute ago. If I can get this to look. All right, here we go. This is Ledger has a new CEO. A new product, built-in hardware wallets inside cell phones may be in the Ledger's future. Now, folks, this is what I just said. And this is something that you're not going to see me do. Unless I can plug, if I could plug something into that cell phone, unless I have a hardware device that is not connected to the internet. That's the key. I am not going to store my digital assets on anything if I don't have a separate hardware device that is not connected to the internet that I can type in my, whether it's private keys or PIN number or whatever. That's the key. I will not be leaving my digital assets on my phone. No, leaving them on an exchange or your phone as a temporary while you're buying them and then eventually getting them off, that's different. But that's what I wanted to bring up from that. Okay, this is cool right here. Depths Capital, at Depths Capital. Interesting find. JP Morgan's Japan division. They increased their holdings by 5 times in SBI Group in first quarter of 2018 following the December 17th, January 18th crypto bull market. Bob Wade was right. The 17 to 18 bull market was the real catalyst that put crypto on the radar for institutions. We've talked about this before. That last bull run, that was when Wall Street said, wait a minute, this is going to actually be a thing. This thing's not dying. And that is when they came in. That's when Jamie Dimon told his people that they needed to create a JP Morgan coin, while he said Bitcoin was a fraud and that it was all just a bunch of bull. Meanwhile, he was having a crypto created for his company. That's what was going on, and it happened. And really, it's the same thing that I've said on this channel for so long. They smell the money, and the second Wall Street smells the money, and they know there's a ton of it in what's coming. And so they are coming, and this is what they're doing behind the scenes, okay? And SBI, there's a reason they're investing that kind of money in SBI. Then Mike Preston sent me this at Mike Preston CW12. Sorry this video is so long, by the way, folks, but it had to be. I took a weekend break. This is from Natalia Karyaneva. Now, she is the CEO of Proppy. I've talked a lot about Proppy on here. Proppy is the firm that is using blockchain to change the game for the real estate closing process. She says, I had a great chat with Binance. This is Binance Charity Foundation on blockchain for good, how to measure social impact of title registries for developing countries. Hernando de Soto evaluates $9 trillion of real estate that doesn't participate in the economy. Documented assets can become collateral for crypto loans. So there's two things in this that I've talked about. The first thing is, imagine a world where the title searches and all of that is gone, and the title of properties is on the blockchain, and so it's completely transparent. Well, something I haven't even thought about is imagine some of the countries that are just third world countries where they have terrible documentation on who owns what and that type of thing. This will solve a massive problem for that, because they're basically saying that that's $9 trillion in real estate, more or less, probably has issues with the correct title and having a title system to keep track of all that. And then she says documented assets can become collateral. So imagine that all of a sudden those assets that are sitting on your Ledger Nano S becomes potential collateral for borrowing money or whatever. Awesome. Okay, let me get rid of this. Okay, next, for those of you that don't follow Bank XRP, at Bank XRP is his Twitter handle. He's one of the old school people in digital assets. I'm assuming it's a he. But he also has a YouTube channel. That's Bank XRP. And he posted a couple of new videos. This is Marjan Delatin. She's the global head of banking at Ripple on the future of distributed ledgers. And she was at this little conference, British Blockchain Association. This is something you can go watch. Go to Bank XRP and you can go watch this video. Always interesting when we have Ripple executives that we can watch. Next, from Crypto Dash. Japan's Prime Minister commissions cryptocurrency handbook. The G20 summit has been selected as an ideal launch pad for the crypto handbook, given the clear need to accelerate cryptocurrency regulation amongst the contributing nations. Boom, folks. Everybody's getting their regulations in order. Where are you in the United States? Brian Melancholy XRP at Mike Honcho _11 sent this, and I thought this was funny. Warren Buffett can't catch the S&P. Seems envious of Bitcoin's success. Now, this article is more or less talking about how Berkshire Hathaway has not been performing well versus the S&P 500 lately. But I wanted to get to another point. This is something I remember from back during the .com boom. It says not every single stock is high growth, and Buffett's conservative. Let's see. I don't know if that's what I was trying to get to or not. Let's see. Anyway, I'm gonna make a point about this without even talking about that. Back during the .com, Warren Buffett was not he was not comfortable with the .com stocks back then, and a lot of people during the .com bubble, when all of those tech stocks were running up, Warren Buffett would go to a conference, and that's all everybody was talking about. These stocks would come out they would come out and have an initial public offering at $15, and they'd go to $80 in a day. And he wasn't comfortable with that. And a lot of these had PE ratios of like a price to earnings ratio of like 300, which is ridiculous price to earnings ratios. Well, he is a value investor, and so he was never comfortable with that. Well, the truth of the matter is, the point he was making is actually right. Warren Buffett was making the point that this doesn't make any sense. These companies aren't even making money. They're just coming out and they're going to these crazy amounts, and they're not worth what they're trading for, is more or less what he was saying. And he made the point. I remember him telling a story. He told a story about when cars were first invented, how there was like 1,000 to 3,000 car companies, and then when it was all said and done, there was only 4 or 5, okay? And he was making the point that the reason he stays away from technology investing is that you don't know who the winners are going to be, and it's long shot investing, and it's high risk. Well, yeah, from that perspective, he's right. But with digital assets, he's missing one big, huge elephant in the room, and that's what my problem has been with what Warren Buffett is doing on with regard to digital assets. What's new about digital assets that Warren Buffett is not even talking about when he bashes them and does not even bring up is one word, and that's utility. Warren Buffett has never, to my knowledge, addressed what if an XRP has massive utility and is an investment that is being used all around the world, and money is flowing through it, thus driving up the price. He has never addressed that, and until I hear him address that, he's wrong, because he hasn't talked about it. All he's ever talked about is how he thinks Bitcoin's a fraud and there's no reason for it to go up. Well, Bitcoin, in one way, he's making a point. He's making the point that if there is no reason, well, the reason for Bitcoin to go up would be, really in my mind, it would be a flight away. And this is the other thing Warren Buffett is not considering when he talks. It's easy to talk about how you're pro the U.S. dollar and all of these types of things, and you're all on board with what the government's doing with bailouts and all this different stuff. It's easy to talk about those things when you're one of the ones who's the beneficiary of that. Never forget, Warren Buffett got on the phone with I think it was Hank Paulson during the bailouts, during 2008 financial crisis, and he got a head nod and a handshake from I think that was the Treasury Secretary of the United States. He got a government guarantee to help bail out Goldman Sachs. He got Goldman Sachs preferred stock, but he got a nod from the government. He got a guarantee that we got your back. Now, in my mind, that should be illegal. In fact, I think a lot of laws were broken by the United States government and many governments that did bailouts. A lot of laws, they just shelved bankruptcy laws and all kinds of laws during the financial crisis and said, oh, well, this is in the name of a crisis. We can do this. Well, that's what you're talking about. And the problem I have had with Warren Buffett for the last 10 years is that I feel like Warren Buffett made his money being a capitalist and applying a lot of principles that I agree with, taking risks, calculated risks, and doing things in a smart way. But I believe now that he is mega wealthy, I believe he's cozied up too much with the governments, and I believe that he now is not representative of an aspiring young person out there that wants to make their living. I think he's now warmed up to the government, and it's not just me. I know so many people who think the same way I do, my father included, who think that Warren Buffett has sold out. He's a sellout and is now nothing more than like a government shill. And I have a problem with that. Next, from Michael, VAL5 links. According to an announcement made on Twitter, XRP has been added on its Taiwanese platform with new Taiwan dollar, BTC, TH, and USDT pairs. All right, there's more adoption. Okay, man, this video is getting long. I'm sorry, folks. I'm going to finish it up here. Web surfer, much like the internet boom of the 1990s, the blockchain space is due for an explosion. Many of today's blockchain companies will someday, if all goes well, become the decentralized Apples and Microsofts of tomorrow. You're darn right, web surfer. And here's the article that he sent. And I want to read this last part to you. The internet boom's effects did not happen overnight. In fact, many older pundits and analysts were decrying the internet boom in the 1990s as a fad which would soon fizzle out. However, despite the massive dot-com crash of the late 1990s, the underlying technology came out victorious. It's arguable that the cryptocurrency crash of 2018-2019 will someday be seen in this same light. Whether or not we are living in a rerun of the 1990s economy, it is a discussion worthy of having. A more appropriate comparison would be that we are currently living in the internet boom 2.0. And just like then, people won't start to notice until it's everywhere. That's exactly right, folks. A day, I keep telling you, you will be wrapped in digital assets, and this whole world will. When pretty soon, somewhere in the next few months to a year, you're going to see digital assets everywhere you look. And like they say here, people won't start to notice until it's everywhere. About the time you start seeing people be able to buy this in Etrade and Charles Schwab and these places, the reason you're going to all of a sudden start being wrapped in this is because you're going to look around and all of those companies that are now offering that are all going to be starting advertising, and then it's going to be a pile-on effect. Anyway, enough on that. I want to give a shout out to Mike Jansen at COLTSSTADIUMPA. Now, Mike Jansen was one of the first people that ever subscribed to my channel, and immediately, when I didn't have anything going on, he offered to do my intro, and the intro you see on my channel was done by Mike Jansen. Mike Jansen is the announcer for the Indianapolis Colts, okay? And he also has done different work for other people that are YouTubers in the space. I think Brad Kimes, I think he did his outro recently. Well, he offered to do my outro recently. Today, I will be adding an outro. And for those of you that don't know what an outro is, all it is like a closing video clip that like tells you to subscribe and here's how you can follow me on Twitter and that. Apparently, myself being very technologically challenged in this, it's good for me to have people that can help me with a thing here and a thing there. And we've had some great people like Extra Hardcore, Crypto SB helped me out with a logo. I mean, there's so many good people in this space. So anyway, Mike Jansen, he has a production company, and you need to go to his website if you need any work done for a commercial or any kind of video production work. It's mgjansen.com. Here's his website. You can go and you can watch video clips of different things that he has done. So if you're needing some work done, go and see him. And he's got a contact form on here. Let me see if he's got an email address as well. His company is Praxis Media Group, and his email is producer@mgjansen.com. Nice. Okay. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family to watch the outro after I finish talking. Thank you for listening.